Love Hurts is a film that is a pain to watch. Hello there, namaste. Marvin is a Milwaukee realtor who receives a crimson envelope from Rose, a former partner in crime who he left for dead and now finds himself thrust back into a world of ruthless hitmen and double crosses that turn his open houses into a deadly war zone. Technically, it was only one open house. Hunted by his brother, a violent crime lord, Marvin must confront the choices that haunt him and the history he never truly buried. First of all, this movie's trash. If you actually put some thought into this film, nothing makes sense. It's one of those typical films, a man leaves the crime organization only to be pulled back into it. This film has several running gags in it, basically about relationships and things like that, because it's a Valentine's Day movie. One of the hitmen, this one was kind of humorous because one of the hitmen is married, his wife kicked him out, and then he's basically talking with his partner about it, and then they kind of, I mean, the only funny line was like emotionally constipated. I thought that was pretty humorous. There is a girl who has love at first read. She reads a hitman's poetry book and she ends up falling in love with him. She happens to be Marvin's employee. So it happens to be the first hitman that Marvin took out, knocked out, and left clocked out in his desk. Marvin did all this out of love to begin with. He loves Rose, and we only know that apparently because we have to hear that through the narration. It's not like people can act that and show it throughout. So Rose, who Marvin let live, told her to run away far, returns to town and sends envelopes to Marvin, sends envelopes to Marvin's older brother, who's the crime lord, and every single criminal in his organization. There is a piece of dialogue where she said she learned calligraphy to write the letters and make them look all special and everything. So how does anyone know they're from Rose? It's not like she has a tagline, or it's not like she wrote her signature anywhere. No, she learned calligraphy. All these notes are sent in calligraphied text. You can't read someone's handwriting through that. But for some reason, there's a piece of dialogue that Marvin's older brother, the crime lord, is just like, yes, those notes were sent by her. We tracked this calligraphy to her handwriting when she spent 3 years learning calligraphy to plan this out. So her plan in sending everyone a letter was to put Marvin on her side. So instead of sending Marvin a letter first, letting him know her intentions, she sends everyone a letter. So when Marvin returns to his office as a realtor, he gets knocked out immediately and he wakes up with a blade through his hand. He's a fist fighter. He's an experienced combatant. So he's already handicapped through the rest of the film. They have this running gag in like the first 2 fights where Marvin keeps stepping on plaques or frames or things like that and slipping along the floor as he's about to get like the upper hand, which is kind of annoying. They have one feature in this movie which is so absolutely terrible, but it started kind of okay because I'm not a fan of narration in films, because you can either do it like Fight Club where it's just done throughout and it just makes sense because it makes sense to the character. In this one, it starts off with him narrating, and the narration continues on to him being on the phone. What he's narrating, he's saying now, actually talking to his depressed employee who ends up falling in love with the first hitman he knocks out in his office. The narration continues there, and then he's narrating that same piece of dialogue to each person who's coming to the open house. So I actually thought that was pretty interesting because it's something he lives by. It's something he sees as important to him. He narrates it to himself. He narrates it to everyone around him because it's important to him. And it doesn't really hold much weight because he narrates it to his employee, which is why his employee ends up falling in love and standing for what she believes in because he narrated it to her. And then he's basically like, I should listen to my own advice. But the narration becomes absolutely annoying because you're supposed to visually show people what's going on, but this film is like, it knows that people are so inept that they won't grasp the nuances of the film. It's like nobody will know that the reason he did all this is because he loves Rose, so they have to have him say he loves Rose. The reason why she's bringing him into it, the reason why she's roping him in, is because she knows he's attracted to her. But we don't just need, they need her to tell us that in her mind. They have these long shots of, and it's okay to have a long, quiet shot on someone, because you can read, if an actor's good, you can read things through their emotions, through how they emote. But no, they had to narrate it to us. It's not like everything that they tell us we won't understand by the end of the film, because it wasn't needed. They kept having these long shots. I mean, if you removed all the narration, you removed all the long shots, this film would have been even shorter. And I'm glad this film was short. It is just, I just wanted to get through it, get it over with. I was happy to see a couple of the Goonies back together again. Goonies never say die. I was happy to see them back together again. I would love to see a film that brought a lot of them back together. But in the end, when you actually sit down and think about it, the story doesn't make sense, because she sent everyone a letter all at once to kind of rope in Marvin. The only luck she has is her Marvin's older brother wants them both alive. However, Marvin's older brother's second or right hand wants them all dead. Get this. So Rose stole money from the Marvin's older brother and worked with 2 others to do it. She was framed for all of it, and while she was being taken off to killed, she never once told them, oh, I was working with these 2. I was working with these 2. She never once did that. She kept quiet about it, because I guess she knew Marvin had a crush on her. I'm assuming that's why she didn't say anything, ran away for 3 years to learn calligraphy so her plan could go into effect. One of the things that's aggravating is they show that there's firearms in the back of one of the vehicles, that pair of assassins, which I enjoyed, because they were just like, they were just buddies. They ragged on each other consistently, but they have a ton of firearms. And when it comes to the final fight where he's like fist fighting everyone, all they have is a shotgun, and Rose has her own pistol. That is it. Nobody else brought a gun. I guess they gave them all to the pair of hitmen. I mean, the only good thing about this film would be Goonies Never Say Die, and the fact that it's so short, because they tried to do so many romance movies or romance cliches. Because it's a Valentine's Day movie, they had the cliche of like a criminal being taken out of an organization, wanting to live a peaceful life, only to be thrown back into it. In the end, I watch these films so you don't have to. Thank y'all for watching. Talk to you next time. Toodles!